Yo, what up, y'all? This is Indy from Novelty Soundbites. We got a film right now running for Black History Month. WVOE, The Voice of Ebony, a documentary film about African American ownership in radio. And we rocking right now with recognized real hip hop.
The mission of it was to have a black-owned and operated radio station here in Chadbourne. They set up a presidence, and we basically, music was rhythm and blues and gospel. It was important because blacks had just been turned loose more than freedom, and then they wanted to be in the limelight of everything. And to own a black radio station here in Chadbourne, this is something almost unheard of.
Tell me again about the importance of WVOE and what it meant to have a black-owned station.
Okay. So, having a station black-owned and operated, we could play basically black music. And that's basically what we played. Every now and then we'll throw in a hillbilly. But most of the records are black artists, blues and gospel. And the station has really baffled people. It's good. A good name is rather to be chosen in great riches, the Bible says.
Yeah.
And I believe that to be a fact. So I mean, I didn't have a hard time because I can get along with people. If I can talk with a man for 30 minutes, I got it. And see, I never curse. I never formed a habit of cursing. And if you give me a chance, I'll show you what real love is about.
Yeah, real recognized real hip hop, man. Finally got this brother in front of the camera for an interview, man. But it's for a great reason, and it's for at the perfect time because it's Black History Month. But I want to introduce my brother Indy.
What up, what up?
Come on, man.
What up, what up?
Good to have you on my show, man.
Thank you, sir.
So, man, let's get ready to get into it, man. WVOE, The Voice of Ebony. First explain to him, like, what the documentary is all about.
Well, it's a documentary film about African American ownership in radio. It covers topics of like the journey, like if you think about why we would need to own radio stations in the first place, like how that happened. It starts after World War II. It gets into the Great Migration. I guess, obviously there's going to be trials and tribulations pertaining to racism.
Right.
It's also economics. If you're a DJ or if you run in a venue or you're some kind of promoter or you have a record store, it provides economics, how to make money. So, that's always important.
Right.
And, there's a lot of topics that are challenges, overcoming challenges along the journey of ownership in radio.
Right.
So.
Yeah, that's pretty dope. What made you come up with the topic? Because I know when you brought me on the film and you sent me the trailer, it instantly caught my attention because of the way you presented the trailer, and it talked about how, how black radio came about and how it provided a platform for our civil rights leaders like Dr. Martin Luther King and things of that nature. So what made you pick on this topic? Because no one thinking like you right now.
No one thinking, listen, we're the biggest thing in 2022 during Black History Month, and it don't matter who name, it doesn't matter who you think of.
Right.
We're bigger than everyone.
Right.
As far as like just the movement and what it is that we're doing and the way that we're doing it. Like, first of all, nobody's airing a 1-hour audio documentary on their radio station.
Right.
No one's doing that. No one's convincing a radio station to do that.
Right.
So we're the biggest thing moving for Black History Month.
Right.
And just when you say provided for our leaders, radio stations. No, the radio stations created. Our leaders created those opportunities. They weren't provided. No one provided for them.
Right.
They created those opportunities. So when you say, what made me? I created the opportunity. I followed the leaders.
Mm-hmm.
If Malcolm X, if Martin, if R.J. Watkins can come up with an idea and say, I'm going to start a radio station or I'm going to start a TV station, then I can come up with an idea and say, I'm going to make a film about it. So.
Cool. You and the part that you went around the city to talk to different radio station owners. Am I correct about that?
I've spoken to the majority of the African American owned radio stations in the United States of America. Yes.
That's pretty cool, man. I found it interesting when you came to Philly and the story of the Uptown Theater and how you went into that segment and everything.
Yeah.
I had an artist on here that I just did a 5-part segment on. His name is
Nice.
Aaron Shakur.
Nice.
And he did a video in front of the Uptown Theater, and
Right.
we talked about that. He talked about this documentary
Nice.
in his interview, and I explained to him like the importance of the symbolization of what you just like put out there in this video by standing in front of this theater.
Yeah.
And how many people actually care about the past.
Yeah.
And and actually care to protect that place.
Yeah.
As opposed to people just riding by it like it's
Right.
an abandoned
Right.
building.
Right.
And I asked him what made you want to shoot there? And he said exactly the same thing you saying in your documentary. It's a staple. Like,
Yeah.
how can people in this city overlook this? Now, mind you, he from Jersey.
Right. Right.
He like, how can people in this city even overlook this?
Right,
It's
right.
pretty much a monument.
Right.
Started dropping names on who performed there.
Right. Right.
And everything. So the history of the Uptown Theater is like rich. And the way you focused on that in your documentary, man, I got really hats off. Like, you brought attention to
Well,
a
thank you,
place that
sir.
needed
Thank
the
you. Thank you.
attention.
Thank you so much.
So, talk about that a little bit. Like your
Well,
relationship with everyone and everything.
You know how it go, man. You get more love for your work from people that don't know you or people from out of town. It's the reason why Lil Boosie would say, a rapper is quicker to get killed in his hometown, but he can make fortune and fame leaving town, going somewhere else, and take it around the world and do his business.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing. You have something that maybe people need to be reminded of in town
Right.
with the Uptown Theater.
Mm-hmm.
But people that come from out of town, they start to learn the history,
Yeah.
and it looks a little weird. It looks a little bit like, so what's up with that?
Right.
So sometimes you need to be reminded, and I'll give you a good, for instance. So WVOE, I never shared the full project with them.
Mhm.
I told them that we were doing the project. We did some paperwork to make sure it was, above board and everything. And I kind of disappeared into the editing room.
Okay.
So Black History Month rolls around, and I said, listen, you guys should air the audio. So they said, okay, and when they aired it, they were very pleasantly surprised, to say the least. But most importantly, their callers that called in, that typically would call into the radio station,
Right.
were like, wow, like, where did you get that from?
Yeah.
Like, that's different. That's something way different.
Right.
And I can tell from, the people I spoke to at the station at WVOE that their appreciation level went up.
Right.
Their appreciation level went way up.
Right.
So when you hear the operation manager or the chairman of the board in the film say, WVOE, you know, that's incredible. You know what they've done for 60 years.
Yeah.
Being the radio station WVOE, you know, that's a prideful moment. But being in the audience, a listener to WVOE, it's different now.
Right.
Because they're just used to listening to this radio station. They're just used to having it on and walking around the house doing chores, cooking dinner. You know, maybe they didn't feel like watching TV, but, you know, they turn the radio on. They turn the radio off. They watch TV. They leave the house. They come back. They turn the radio back on. It's on WVOE. But now they're listening to this documentary about how great WVOE is. That's different for them.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? They recognize the appreciation level, but they didn't recognize it before they heard it. They did. They appreciate it. They love the station.
Right.
But it's different when other people from other places say, no, that's incredible.
Yeah.
You know, we want to know how to do that, be around for 60 years and keep going and how did you do it? And so, you know, but that's how it always is. You know, your love is different from outside. You know, someone outside looking in.
Right.
You know, it's still love. It's a different kind of love.
Yeah.
But, you know, the value of it, you know, it could change when people use their voice and step up and have something to say and say, yo, you know, this is something, you know, we recognize it as being something. And, you know, hopefully that turns into, you know, how can we support?
Right.
You know, because that's important.
Right. Yeah, that's true. As far as support, talk about where the film is being picked up. Also, let the people know when it's coming out. You know, when can they see a copy of this documentary? Where it's being aired on the radio, where it's being used. So
you have to tune in. You have to check out Novelty Soundbites on Instagram. That's it, because we'll give you all of the information of where the film is going to be on Instagram.
Okay.
They're localized stations. So you got to understand, you have a FM radio station with a signal that reaches a certain amount of people. The radio stations in that area, they'll let you know when they're airing it and what it is that they're doing.
Okay.
You know, we don't exactly, this 2022, you know, we don't exactly live in a day and time when FM radio is the biggest thing ever. True. You know, it's not. We know that it's not. Yeah. It's so on one part, that's the documentary aspect. We want to tell our story the way we want to see it told. Right. So we want to document the history. Mm-hmm. So that's the documentary side. But currently, right now, you know, a lot of people are sitting in the house and listening to whatever it is that they have going on, you know, as far as like not leaving the house, not really going anywhere. So you're watching community news. Mm-hmm. You know, at one point in time, maybe you watched the big news station, but now you're actually watching CBS Pittsburgh, mm-hmm. you know, or CBS Chapel Hill, or whatever your local news channel. And you know, a lot more people are tuning in to the local FM station because they want to know what's going on. Because a lot of people are sitting in the house and saying, if I was to leave the house, where would I go? Right. And now you have community radio telling you where to go because it's safe. You know, there's protocols in place, but if you want to, you can go catch the baseball game or the football game, or you can, you know, do whatever, or there's a hot spot over here. So community news, community radio, you know, it's what we're doing. We're doing community everything right now. A lot of people are scared the house. You want to go to the function. But I don't know if I want to go to the function. Right. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure if I want to go to the function because, you know, they got a new variant or whatever. Right. So, you know, that's where you have the opportunity to find out what's going on locally. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of a timely thing. You know, So there's a documentary aspect, there's a history aspect, you know, but there's also that local community sense that, you know, at the end of the day, you know, you got to just tune in. You know what I'm saying? You can check us out on Instagram and you can find out where we're going to be, and you can look and you can see the area that you're in, and if something looks familiar to you, by the time this interview comes out, we'll be on iHeartRadio tomorrow, so that's kind of global, but we're going to be doing a really cool interview on the Soul Patrol show where there's going to be a screening so you can watch the film with us and a question and answer after. So that's on the soulpatrol.com on the 17th at 7:30. So you could do that. I mean, but other than that, after February, we kind of fade to black. So you catch it or you don't.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah.
It's good information, man. That's why I want to put it out there, man, and help put it out there on my platform, because I feel like this is a message that a lot of people need to listen to, a lot of people in media, a lot of people that's young, black, you know what I'm saying? It's just like a history lesson that they probably overlook, We always look at the people nowadays like the Power 99s and all these radio stations, and nobody really think back, how did it all begin, especially for our people, and so I feel like that was a real dope topic to focus on, man, and just bring awareness to WVOE, just black radio and how it came about, man. I thought it was a real great message, man.
Well, one of the topics that surprised me, that was a consistent topic with different people I spoke to, was apparently there's not a common knowledge of what a sharecropper is. You know what a sharecropper is?
I can't say I really do, nah.
See, that's interesting to me.
Yeah.
Because the film kind of touches on it. And it touches on it in a realistic and great way. So I met some young guys from Philadelphia one time while I was out here. And I showed them about 15 minutes of the film, but I stopped it at the point in the film where they talk about sharecropping, and I said, do any of you guys know what a sharecropper is? And the first thing that they said was, that's like a slave or something, right? Mm-hmm. I got another guy in New Jersey. I guess his cultural background is like German and Swedish, right? So I kind of wanted to talk to him a little bit. I said, what do you think a sharecropper is? He said a similar thing. He had a respectful tone, right, but he just couldn't phase away from, it's like a slave or something. Mm. My grandfather was a sharecropper. Sharecropping is a business opportunity. You got a farm, you're selling produce, there's guys in the neighborhood, you own the farm, or he owns whoever owns the farm, you get the guys in the neighborhood to help you with the farming and selling the produce. That's a business opportunity. That's not a slavery thing at all. Slavery has nothing to do with sharecropping whatsoever. I think the concept of people working on a farm, maybe in people's minds, is so close to working in the field. So you was picking cotton and all of this stuff that you just get bombarded with from the news and from the media. They just keep bombarding you with this slavery stuff, that the reality of the situation is they don't really realize that, like sharecropping, it's a business opportunity. If I own a farm here and you own a farm there, but we're going to the same place to sell our produce, maybe we'd get a better deal if we come together. Right. It don't matter what your skin complexion is. That's not the thing that matters, because if somebody gets on your nerves, you can always just say, you know what, I don't really want to do business with you. Right. That's not a slavery thing. That's a business thing. Right. So that was always an interesting thing, that a conversation I ended up in quite a few times with this film.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting, because I think a lot of people would compare it to that, because they figured people back in that time, well, our people back in that time wasn't getting paid properly for anything that they was doing. You see what I'm saying? I
do see what you're saying, except for one thing. Sharecropping happens now, today. Somewhere there's a farm, and somewhere someone's doing sharecropping.
Right.
And You tell me when the last time you did business and you just felt like everything was like super fair every time. You just have a lifetime of doing business and it's always fair.
Right. Yeah.
It's as fair as educated and as smart as you are. Right. You have to be the best businessman you can be.
Right.
Other than that, of course somebody's going to try to tip the scale in their own favor. You know, that's business. That's the way that it works. That's the way that it works. But sharecropping happens today. So, you know, there's no back in the days or whatever. It's just, you know, it's a thing that happens that people do.
No doubt, no doubt. So what's next for you?
Oh, there's nothing next, man. I see people, you know, do you know how much do you know how much people hate when they have a project that they currently running and someone says,
what's next?
what are you gonna do after this? I'm not gonna do nothing after this. I'm gonna sit down somewhere and you know, I'm gonna smoke some medical marijuana and I'm gonna, you know, and but no, on March 22nd, we're doing a reissue of Versatility 3 Rewind. So that's a film that features Chad Hugo from the Neptunes, Stretch Armstrong and Bobito. They got some live performances with Questlove on the drums and Gene Gray and, you know, a few people. You know, there's quite a few artists in there, and it's a really good hip hop kind of like storytelling of a magazine called Frequency Magazine.
Okay.
That was based out of Norfolk, Virginia. So we're doing a reissuing of that on March 22nd.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah.
All right, let everybody know again where they can find you, man.
Novelty Soundbites. Wherever you see Novelty Soundbites, you know, that's us. If you want to know where the film is going to be or what moves we're making, you know, just go to Instagram.
All right, my brother Indy, man, thanks a lot for coming through, man. I really appreciate you coming through here, sharing your story. And everybody go check it out, man. WVOE, Voice of Ebony, man. Story about black radio, man.
And if you get a chance, come to the Soul Patrol joint on the 17th. And if anything that happens after that, just look for Novelty Soundbites. And hip-hop is
real recognized
real hip-hop. Real recognized real hip-hop.
That's without a doubt.